The Attic Lover, a decade of deception and murder. Imagine this. You are married. Your home is comfortable, respectable, admired by neighbors. Your life looks perfectly normal from the outside. And yet, every single night, while you sleep peacefully in your bed, there is someone living just above your head. Not a ghost, not a rat, not your imagination. A man, breathing quietly, listening to every word you say, waiting patiently in the darkness. He has been there for years. This is one of the most bizarre and disturbing true crime stories in American history. The story of Walburga, Dolly, Oesterreich, also known as the Attic Lover case, or, as newspapers later called it, the Batman murder. It is a story filled with obsession, manipulation, betrayal, and almost unbelievable level of deception. A story where an affair lasts more than a decade, a murder is staged as a robbery, and the killer never truly leaves a house. And somehow, marriage ends up being the least shocking part. To understand how something this strange could really happen, we need to go back in time, to a colder place, to a different America, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the early 1900s. The city is alive with industry. Textile factories run day and night. Machinery rattles the streets. The air smells of wet fabric, oil, and ambition. Milwaukee is home to a large German immigrant population. Hard-working families chasing stability, discipline, and social respectability. Men are expected to provide. Women are expected to obey. Marriage is not about passion. It is about duty. Walburga Oesterreich, known to everyone as Dolly, learns this lesson early in life. Born in 1880, Dolly marries at just 17 years old. Her husband gives her financial security, but little affection. By the time she reaches her early 30s, she is restless, bored, and deeply dissatisfied. Dolly is described as striking and confident, dark hair, piercing eyes, an intense presence that makes people pay attention when she enters a room. She knows exactly how to use that attention. In 1913, Dolly meets a young factory worker named Otto Sanhuber. Otto is the opposite of her husband. Young, thin, shy, and eager to please. He works at the same textile factory, where Dolly's husband holds a position of authority. Otto looks up to Dolly, and Dolly quickly realizes it. What begins as conversation turns into a secret affair. Stolen moments, careful glances, a relationship hidden in plain sight. But Dolly wants more than secrecy. One day, she makes a request that will define both of their lives. She asks Otto to hide, not for a night, not for a weekend, but indefinitely. She leads him into the attic of her home. The space is small and suffocating. Low ceilings, dust-covered beams, stale air mixed with the smell of old wood. And Otto agrees. Why would anyone agree to something like this? Because Dolly does not just offer affection. She offers purpose. She tells Otto that she needs him, that he belongs to her, that this sacrifice proves his devotion. And Otto believes every word. For the next 10 years, Otto Sanhuber lives in attics, first in Milwaukee, later in Los Angeles. Because wherever Dolly goes, she always chooses houses with attics. During the day, Otto remains silent. At night, he listens. He hears arguments between Dolly and her husband. He hears laughter, footsteps, the sound of a normal life continuing just below him. He eats only when Dolly brings him food. He moves only when she allows it. He exists almost entirely in darkness. To pass the time, Otto writes science fiction stories, adventure tales, entire imaginary worlds created to escape the one he is trapped in. He writes under pseudonym, never imagining that these stories will one day become footnotes in a murder investigation. Dolly, meanwhile, maintains complete control. She decides when Otto eats, when he speaks, when he is allowed intimacy. Otto cooks. He cleans. He waits. It is an arrangement that feels less like a romance and more like imprisonment disguised as love. Fred Oesterreich, Dolly's husband, occasionally hears noises coming from above, scratching, movement, creaking floorboards. He assumes it is rats. Fred is a successful businessman, a man capable of running factories and managing employees. Yet he never questions the strange sounds in his own home. The man can oversee an entire operation, but never once checks the attic. In 1918, the Oesterreichs moved to Los Angeles, a city full of opportunity, sunshine, and fresh beginnings. Otto moves with them, still hidden, still obedient, still silent. By 1922, the tension inside the house is unbearable. Fred and Dolly argue frequently. Their marriage is cold and bitter, and Otto hears everything. On the night of August 22nd, 1922, the argument turns violent. Voices rise. Anger spills over. Fred grabs Dolly. She screams. And for the first time in nearly a decade, Otto breaks his role. He comes down from the attic. Otto is holding a .25 caliber pistol. In that moment, fear, jealousy, devotion, and desperation collide. He fires. Fred collapses. Otto fires again to make sure he is dead. Then, just as quietly as he came, Otto returns to the attic. Dolly begins to scream. She calls the police. She tells them a burglar broke into the house and shot her husband during a robbery. The story seems believable. There are signs of a struggle. No obvious suspects. No reason to doubt a grieving widow. The police accept her version of events, and the case goes cold. What no one suspects is that the killer is still in the house. For the next 8 years, Otto remains hidden in the attic. He eats. He sleeps. He listens, all while the murder remains officially unsolved. Eventually, Dolly grows tired of Otto. The control fades. The fascination disappears. She sends him away. Years later, Otto confesses the entire story to a new lover. Unluckily for him, this lover happens to be a lawyer. Authorities reopen the case. They recover the murder weapons, which had been thrown into the La Brea tar pits years earlier. The truth finally comes out. Dolly is arrested and put on trial in 1930. But justice arrives too late. The statute of limitations has expired. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Dolly cannot be convicted. She walks free. Dolly Oesterreich dies in 1961, never having served time for her role in the murder. Otto Senhuber fades into obscurity, and the world is left with one of the strangest questions in true crime history. How can someone hide a secret like that for so long? How easily can obsession turn into control? And how many stories of betrayal are hidden in places we never think to look? Sometimes the most dangerous secrets aren't buried underground. They're right above our heads. If you enjoyed this story, consider subscribing for more true crime cases filled with shocking twists and unbelievable deception. And tell me in the comments, what do you think happened to the stories Otto wrote while living in the attic?